And we're back with SA Today. Now, Checkpoint researchers have discovered a vulnerability in WhatsApp that allows a threat actor to intercept and manipulate messages that are sent by those in a group or private conversation. Now, due to its very nature of being an easy and quick way to communicate, WhatsApp has already been at the center of a variety of scams this year. Attackers can put themselves in a position of immense power to not only steer potential evidence in their favor, but also create and spread misinformation. Now, to talk to us more about the vulnerabilities in the instant messaging apps, we're very pleased to welcome Mr. Andrew Voges, who is the head of threat prevention for the Middle East and Africa at, of course, Checkpoint. Mr. Voges, thank you so much for joining us, Andrew. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Lisa.
I was trying to get that surname right correctly, otherwise I wouldn't be doing my job perfectly. Thank you so much for joining us. So, Andrew, I understand, let's first understand the difference between a hack and a vulnerability. We're having an off-air discussion. I think this is very important to understand.
So a hack is when something has already happened. So if there was a data breach like Liberty, for instance, that is a hack. Now, a vulnerability is OEM has got software, and there might be security issues within that software. So when there's a gap in security where somebody can actually take advantage and get into the application and then do malicious stuff after that. That is a vulnerability. Okay,
now talk to us about 3 possible attacks, Andrew, that can happen because of those vulnerabilities.
So the 3 type of attacks on WhatsApp specifically is that somebody can actually manipulate somebody else to believe that they're actually saying something right. And it could be coming from somebody else. So to actually pretend to be somebody else. Okay. The other thing is to spread misinformation to groups, to pretend to be a group in an organization, but this is actually somebody sitting on the outside. And then if you think about elections, the same thing could apply to that. Fake news about a candidate, and then winning that candidate or the election because of that, or losing the election because of that.
Look, is WhatsApp even aware of this vulnerability, Andrew? And what is their response to this whole mess? Because we do understand a lot of people are on WhatsApp and on Facebook.
So our researchers has actually brought it to WhatsApp. We've notified them. And they're looking at it. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do, but they'll have to do something about it. Yeah.
Look, and then who's at risk here, Andrew? Is it all the people that are on WhatsApp, or the people that belong to groups, or people that are group chatting in company groups or on Facebook?
Well, if you look at WhatsApp, 1.5 billion subscribers, over 60 billion groups, and also 60 billion type of
conversations
every day. So, you know, there's a massive risk. It's not just the individual, it's also an organization.
All right, now let's talk about social engineering, and how can one then protect themselves from this misinformation?
So, you know, the rule of thumb is always an idea to say if you get information, you know, if it is good information, maybe it's true. If it is outrageous, maybe it's not. So that's the principle that you have to follow when dealing with these type of messages. The other thing is if you, with misinformation, I actually need some water.
Don't worry, I'll give you water just.
So with misinformation, you have to do some diligence. It is your responsibility to also do some research and actually understand the story behind it. If it is coming from a group, how factual could it be then coming from one person?
But then, Andrew, we saw this, that WhatsApp actually announced this new, I don't know if it's a security measure or what to call it in the technical term, where they say now whatever messages that you send from group or to each other are encrypted. Doesn't that mean it's secure?
So what we've done is we actually took that encryption and we used algorithms to reverse it. So what actually happens is that you can see the data between WhatsApp and also the web version. So you can then start looking at the security and then manipulating that as well. So yes, it is encrypted. WhatsApp can't even see those messages. But what we've done, and this is why it's a vulnerability, we actually looked at the security and we saw that That's the issue.
So then, well, how would you advise the active 160 billion users that are currently on WhatsApp and Facebook to stay away from group chats, to stay away from the app, or completely altogether?
No. If you think about mobiles as such, we don't pay attention to the security of the mobiles.
That's true.
The same than
what we do. Personal information, Andrew. Yes. That's the worry.
So we need to make sure that the device itself is not compromised, and you need some security. So the focus should also be to look at the security of your phone. Do the updates, the OS or the security updates. Make sure it's up to date. Is it the latest version? The problem is that the bad guys can actually then also manipulate and create a fake WhatsApp application, and that puts you at risk.
Oh, no, Andrew, look, I mean, what would then be the role of your government bodies, say like ICASA, to take, even start firmer measures on this vulnerability? And also, I mean, what would be the responsibility of the phone companies or the app companies that are creating these apps?
Look, their responsibility is to make sure that it is secure. If it is an application, we are a security company, so we look at the whole spec of security. It's also our responsibility to make sure that we can protect our corporate customers and also our consumers. And that same responsibility needs to be inherited by the developers, by the OEMs that actually brings these applications out. A due diligence of how secure is it? Is there any type of gap in that security that you can actually get through.
And your final words to the users out there, should they really stay away from those group chats and so forth, not knowing where their information might end up, Andrew?
Yeah, look, I think news, getting news from social media, you want to stay away from that until you know it's secure. Okay, at this moment, there is no security that can actually protect you against that. It is up to you.
So you have to verify the information.
You have to verify it and verify it. If it's coming from a source that you trust and you know that would not say something like that, it is not going to be like that.
And then those people that have phones, but they're not necessarily aware of how these apps and these threads actually work, Andrew, what can they do? I mean, where can they even get some of this information? Is it not supposed to be the people that provide them with the phones, or where they buy these phones from, that are supposed to be supplying them with this information?
There should be some education.
Absolutely.
Right? But from that is one of our we're responsible for the security markets, and we need to also educate internal and external, and this is one of the reasons why we're talking today with you guys, and we constantly educate our channel markets and our corporates on these new things. The other thing is they can go onto a security website like Checkpoint. We've got blogs where we actually discover vulnerabilities and we actually post those blogs, and they can actually go and read up on it.
Awesome
on
stuff.
LinkedIn, we've also got posts going out so they can also follow on Checkpoint.
Andrew, from now on, like I was saying earlier on, anybody who sends me or puts me in a group, I just delete them. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Andrew, Mr. Andrew Voges, the head of threat prevention for Middle East and Africa at Checkpoint, talking to us about the vulnerability in WhatsApp and Facebook messengers. Let's take a quick ad break. Well, your headlines are after the